Hey there. Did you miss me? I missed you too. If you were waiting for more content, really, all you had to do was say the magic words.
Mecca lecca hi, mecca hiney ho.
Mecca lecca hi, mecca hiney ho. Mecca lecca hi, mecca hiney ho.
Now everyone at home. Mecca lecca hi, mecca hiney ho.
Mecca lecca
Hi, mecca hiney ho. Mecca lecca hi, mecca hiney ho.
Mecca lecca hi, mecca hiney ho. Mecca lecca hi, mecca hiney ho.
Hold on to your butts, kids. It's gonna get crazy. It's Sausage Fingers and Tiny Things. Welcome back. Today I'm making Jambi the Genie, but as a finger puppet. The grand plan. First I need to draw it out. I use all my rulers, a sharpened pencil with an irreverent message on it. Voila, it's done. In different colors. See, I'm magic. Then I cut out my templates. I'm gonna use those templates to play with some foam core board to just kind of see how it looks. Using Anna, she volunteered, it's consensual. I try to demonstrate kind of a rough idea of how this is going to look. I then immediately redo my templates and cut out my foam board using those measurements because that will supposedly fit together better. I take my 2 floor pieces and cut out a hole in each. That will be where the finger hole is. It's kind of scandalous, you guys. Sorry. Because the entirety of Jambi's box is covered in glitter, I decided to go ahead and cover the pieces of my foam core with paper so that when I glued the glitter to it later, the white of the foam core board wouldn't show through. Who knew it would be this difficult to glue paper to the steps of these 2 pieces of foam core? I think it's time for a glitter break! Glitter break! Glitter break! I didn't expect the doors to be as complicated as they became. So I measured for height, kind of for width. I wanted to make sure I had room for the doors to open. And it all looked good to me. So I made a final template for the doors and then freehanded the zigzag opening just because I wasn't sure how wide I needed the angles to be. But once that was done, I thought I was so smart using double stick tape to attach my template to the foam core board with. So smart. So even though I took all that time to measure and remeasure and test and fit, I neglected the slant of the side walls in making the door. So as you can see, I screwed it up. Thankfully, I could use this piece that I just cut out to draw directly onto and then cut out the doors. I'm adding the side pieces to the door and it fits perfectly. Mostly. Now it's time to glue everything together. The only problem is that the walls don't fit with the base. So I think it's time for a shopping break. We need to find a Barbie head and some purple glitter. In the interest of not spending very much money, I decided to check out the bins at Goodwill. If you're not sure what the bins are, this is a place where essentially you're rummaging through other people's trash to find treasure. I did not find a Barbie there, so I went to the actual store and lucked out. There were 3 Barbies in the whole entire store. And I found this one. And it actually turned out to be pretty perfect. Good size, good sculpt. I can definitely do something with this. Now I need to fix some things. First, I need to take apart this base, so I just rip off as much of the paper as I can and cut it down to size. But please don't cut towards your flesh, kids. Now that everything is cut down, I'm just going to glue it together and move on to the next step. I had to make a few special modifications.
Made a lot of special modifications myself.
But I was easily able to get that put together and ready for more paper. I need to finish covering the base with purple paper, and I'm actually going to use the excess there to roll up into the legs of the box. Door check, 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 door check. I tried being smart and using a dowel to roll this up, but it was so annoying!
5 minutes later.
But I used my sausage fingers, and it worked well for me. And then I used this paper to kind of create the front of the box, as you see in the picture. And for the glittery gold doors, I'm using this gold glitter scrapbooking paper. Wrapping this paper around the door was annoying, horrible. It was an awful experience, and I hated the way it was working for me.
Hated it.
So after many hours of gluing and taping and cutting, I decided to go ahead and tear off a part of it on the edge there and just cut out a long strip of paper and cover it in one piece so that it looked not so horrible. I do go back in later and cover the white edges with gold paint. With everything glued together, I wanted to provide footage of me glittering the thing, but this is all that I have.
Putting on this. Oh, there's more. Yes. Why'd I waste my time doing that, bitch?
Anyway, now I'm ready to cover the insides of the box with black felt so that Jambi's floating head looks like it's actually floating. I make sure to cover the bottom in felt as well, just to hide that ugly foam core. Time to put the doors on some hinges. I used some random staples that I have in my junk drawers, cut it down to size, poked it into the box just to make sure that the doors would clear the bottom, and then I glue the wire into the door. I then make a blood sacrifice to the crafting gods. Thankfully, I'm not that stupid, and I used a paper towel for the next time. For consistency's sake, I went ahead and used pink paper to cover the inside of the door, instead of painting it, which probably could have been easier. Now I attach it to the box itself. I'm not going to glue it because I actually want the doors to swing open. And look at that. I'm so excited. I can't wait to put the box top on there. Oh, peekaboo, there's Anna again. Isn't she creepy? The top of the box itself has a few components that I still need to complete. One is the wings that kind of go up on the side. So I forced some paper into doing my will, and I think it turned out okay. A bunch of glue and hope. It'll be covered with glitter anyway, so I didn't worry about it too much. Then on top of that, there are these 3 steps or so. So I cut those out of foam board, cover them in paper, and then I'm going to glue them all together later. I'm just attaching some pieces of paper to the front of the wings. Again, it's all going to be covered in glitter, so it's not going to be too noticeable. Like I said, I wasn't sure how to approach it, but this works. And while that dries, I'm going to go ahead and finish gluing the rest of the pieces of paper to the 3 different steps on the top of the box.
satisfying slicing.
I'm gonna glue them all together. And then I'm gonna glitter everything, but because I ran out of the original glitter that I was using, and the only glitter that I could find was this super chunky glitter, I go ahead and start covering everything in the chunky glitter. And finally we get to the point that I'm the most scared of, and that's doing the face. I'm trying to be Papa Natelier here, but I had to chop off the head. I'm not gonna do anything with this other than paint it and stick some felt on it. So I remove her hair. And here I try to transfer all the makeup to my paper towel with acetone, but that didn't work. Now before I prime her face, I need to water down my blue paints because two certain nieces used it all up last time they were here. It's fine, I said they could. I don't have Mr. Super Clear, and since I'm cheap, I just use a clear acrylic gesso that I have. I decided to thin this as much as possible, so then all I had to do was apply several thin layers of the paint. It turned out pretty good, I think. Now, finally, we get to the glittering. It is the glittering of the entire box. I wish that I had the fine glitter, but the chunky glitter works too. It kind of makes it a bit more cartoony and flashy. While that dries, let's go back to the face. Just like Poppin and many other doll artists, I get out my watercolor pencils, the very few that I have, and pick about half of them. And get to town. The Crayola white doesn't work very well, but it kind of works for this since I don't really know what I'm doing. I really lay on that blue eyeshadow pretty thick there. And then I brush it out. And then I do the cheek. And then I decide that's too much, but I don't show you that I actually watered it down. Next, I turn to my pastels. They're not super effective, but I think maybe they get the job done. I'm just making sure to highlight the areas of the face that the actor who played Jambi would have had, just to make it look less like a Barbie and more like a genie. That includes trying to widen the nose a little bit with shadow and lines. And then I skip the watercolor pencils and go straight to the acrylic paint for the eyes and the teeth. Then I will come back in here with the watercolor pencils and get the eyes, and then use black acrylic for the eyeliner and pupils. And then I really want to rouge those cheeks up with rouge.
Did you ever wear rouge? Yes. Well, now you're gonna really wear rouge.
And then I gloss the eyes. I use glue for the eyebrows so I can attach some sparkles, some sequins, one by one, you guys. It was a lot of fun, actually. I didn't want to stop. Next is the turban. I have a bunch of scrap fabric. I decide on the red velvet there and a ribbon. I'm trying to be as accurate as I can to the turban, so I use some gold vinyl stuff that turns out to fall apart. After lots of gluing and lots of cutting and lots of gluing, eventually this thing does come together. It is definitely not perfect. but since it's in the box and it's kind of in the back and you don't really see it, I kind of gave up with the pins there. Then there's a ribbon, it's kind of like a band of the turban. And then I just add paper to cover the horrible gold vinyl. And then I stencil the table. Next, I want to have 3 dangly things kind of at the bottom of the gem, so it kind of dangles in his face. And I decide the easiest way would be the thread, but with these claws, that was maddening. Next, I found a tassel that I used for a kind of feather thing, and voila, you get the turban. Now I just kind of cobble together a bunch of pieces of felt to the box and to Jambi. I'm trying to get them to have kind of a turtleneck that I can then attach to the bottom part of the box. And then I want to stick a bunch of felt up in there because I put a bunch of push pins in there earlier and I don't want to poke my finger. At first I thought of gluing this, but then I thought, I need to just sew it. It'll be better. Nobody will see. It'll be fine. And then I glue the edges of the felt to the edges of the box. It didn't really take very well. I still kind of have to go back and fix it. And next I stick in the doors so I can finally glue in the top. It's time to put on all the little sparkly bits. I have so much. Yeah, I kind of didn't know how to approach it, but I figured one at a time. Enjoy the process. Where's that one gonna live? It's gonna live right there. I decide that I need to put a little door on there so it'll be easier to open. Otherwise I'll be trying to dig my nails into the door, trying to pry it open. And I add just a ton. In the end, you'll see.
The wish is granted. Long live Jambi.